Welcome everybody, and we have a very special cast for you tonight. We have the playoffs of Chair League start beginning right now. We have a Pro Division match for you. Tonight will be Team Blaze, the popular esports organization, against, you see them at rank 9 here, versus Drop Dead Gorgeous at rank 15. So they went 5-3 and 4-4 in their Pro Division this season. So now they're going to face it off to see who moves on into the playoffs. Before we start, I am going to kind of self-promote a little bit and say I have an Extra Life campaign going on here in support of Sick Kids Hospital. You see, we've raised $10, but it's happening this weekend. Unfortunately, the same weekend as BlizzCon, but tune in when you're not watching BlizzCon. And yeah, everything goes to a good cause. And I have set up some incentives here, but if you can even just donate $1 or whatever, any little bit helps, or spread the word, or just come join my stream on the day of, and I would really appreciate it. Just keep me awake and we'll have a fun time. All right, so here we go. I'm going to send out the links and off we go. And you can see Team Blaze is already in the draft. So, and there we go. We started. The first map is Drop Dead Gorgeous's pick, and it's Tomb of the Spider Queen. It is a map we've seen quite often in Chair League, and just one of the most standard MOBA type maps there is. You know, it's a lot about sustain. The map objectives aren't too gimmicky. The map objectives are still important, and you see a lot of things like Sylvanas being banned here. So, but instead we do have Vala and Samuro being banned. Vala is a very consistent DPSer right now. I'm still surprised that she's first banned. You don't really see that too often, but not surprised either. A lot of high-level players can play her really well. Crowin from Gale Force has been, you know, rocking her a lot in all his matches. Same with, I think, Chris. Look at Chris. Really likes her. So, just a very consistent DPSer, puts out very similar numbers of game, and it allows them to pick another power pick like Malfurion. They knew that Drop Dead Gorgeous would have to let either Malfurion or Samuro go, so either way they would end up with an amazing pick. Chen is a popular pick on Tomb of the Spider Queen. We see him because he's a really, really capable solo laner, so you just stick him on the bottom lane and forget about him. He has decent lane push and wave clear, so he's not going to be pushed in, and in fact he can put a lot of pressure on the opposing structures by soaking up their ammo while he's drinking. And then Li Ming is one of the best goaltenders. You know, every week on this map we talk about how the two things you want to look for on this map are wave clear and goaltending are kind of the two most important things, and then other things are sustain. So Malfurion was picked for the sustain, and he has decent wave clear, especially with the level 1 Moonfire talent. And so Li Ming provides the goaltending. On level 7 she also provides the wave clearing, but by then it's not quite as important. So we see the counter picks here. We have Alarak and ETC. These are two of the best rotational gankers in the game, and together they are super deadly. You slide in with the ETC power stun, you set up the Alarak, easy Alarak combo, anyone is dead. So we know that this map is a 4-man rotational game on the top half, or well, the top 2 lanes, and then a solo on the bottom. So here they're adding a lot of pressure and power to their rotation, because if the other team is slightly off on the rotation, leaves one person slightly out of position, ETC and Alarak can kill them. And then you're way behind on the rotations and clearing. So we'll see what they attempt to do to alleviate that. They could still pick like a Johanna or something like that. Johanna is a great counter to ETC because it forces it kind of can't, well, sorry, let me rephrase that. She has 2 ways to cancel ETC's mosh pit. And she can dodge his stun. with her trait. So it'll be hard to gank her even in a rotation, unless Alarak can get a silence off first. We see the Muradin band trying to squeeze out another tank, since they've got the one tank they'll probably want. And you see Drop Dead Gorgeous band out Tychus, which actually kind of forecasted the Johanna pick as well. And we see the Johanna Asmodan combo. We actually see this sometimes on this map, and it's not bad at all. You can get stacks really fast. I think last week I casted a match with a pro division team. Maybe, I think it was Drop Dead Gorgeous actually, who ran this combo and got, you know, like 130 stacks in 10 minutes or something like that. And, you know, it does add a lot of power. So, and they're clearly very practiced with this combo, which is important because they like to put Asmodan in the 4-man rotation and protect him while he builds up his stacks. He's also a very good goaltender. He can do it from such a long range. So Asmodan, very good pick here. And we'll see what they try to do to counter. Now you can try to really pressure the Asmodan lineup early because it still takes a while. So there's the Sylvanas pick, exactly what I was thinking. If they get a turn in, they can just push down forts and keeps so fast that Asmodan has way less room to work with. And we'll see what the last pick is. They need a more consistent DPS, so maybe maybe another wave clearer like Kel'Thas or something like that. They could use a mage, or they could use someone like Hammer, Lunara, some auto attacker maybe. Let's see what else they go. And I hope my interface is not bugged because their time is running out. There we go, it's Thrall. They needed a solo laner, that's right. They still needed a solo laner bottom. Thrall does okay against Chen. I think that lane probably goes a little bit even. Eventually Chen might put a lot more pressure onto Thrall. But if Thrall conserves his mana by just using his Q, he should do okay. Now he can't stop Chen from drinking though, and that's a big problem. In fact, well, they have the Pull Silence, they have the ETC Stun, and they have the Wailing Arrow to stop him from drinking, and then the Sundering, so they have a few ways. And then they have Morales. Interesting, because if Alarak gets Deadly Strike, he can really pressure that Morales a lot. So I'm not sure how I feel about that Morales pick. I guess there weren't really that many healer options left. So we'll see what how these handsome players manage these lineups. Looking at these lineups, I kind of favor... Oh, it's so tough because Drop Dead Gorgeous has such a strong late game, but if Blaze can execute their rotational ganks properly, and they can, like I said, get on the Morales later with Stage Dive and Deadly Charge, and then Sundering, they can definitely blow up the Morales before she can do anything. So I'm gonna have to go with Team Blaze here. They can just get to the backline, I think, and explode them. But here we go. So normally this is where I would read you their descriptions they wrote on their Chair League team pages, but they really haven't wrote any. So I'm going to go through their match histories. They did not play during the regular season against each other, so we don't have that to go by. Blaze did lose to the #1 team twice, which is Brawl's team. And Drop Dead Gorgeous had a bit of easier competition, I guess, but they lost to 2 teams that Blaze beat. So, read from that what you will. Should be an exciting game. Everyone has brought their A game, I bet, so it should be a very exciting game. Alright, here we go. On the Team Blaze's side, we have Vestige on ETC, Snarly Brown on Malfurion, Stoden on Thrall, Aunt Jemima on Alarak, and Shadow Smile on Sylvanas. And it looks like Alarak is in the solo lane because he can do better against Chen. He actually can really pressure Chen in the solo lane. Okay, Chaos on Li Ming, Unitas on Morales, Pugs Not Drugs on Johanna, Gelda on Chen, and Ajax on Asmodan. Like I said, I've seen Drop Dead Gorgeous run this lineup twice, I think, on this map, so they really know their stuff when it comes to this combo, so we'll see how well they do. They can do against such a great team like Blaze, and they're putting the 5-man cheese right in the middle. You usually don't see this in middle lane, and Shadow Spell actually waved in early, and they waited for her to do that seemingly, and then just blew her up. Wow, using wave that aggressively for the cheese is aggressive, especially on such a small map. You know on the middle lane, you know the enemy team is going to be able to respond quite quickly. That is aggressive. Okay. So here we see a Malfurion root on 2, we see those quite often, so no biggie. So we just see a slight experience lead. They traded that off for some structural damage, so it's really not the biggest deal in the world. I mean, and there's the ganking power from ETC into the root. Just huge. Just anybody catches you with their CC, you're basically dead, because they can just chain them one upon the other. And Li Ming learned that the hard way. Okay, here we go. ETC, stun into root. Johanna's forced to pock her trait already, and that's 40 seconds where she is forced to be very defensive. And down here, we see Alarak just beating on the Chen. Every time he tries to drink in lane, Alarak is just going to silence him for massive damage and then set him up to pull him back in and make sure he can't get away. So really very little Chen can do, and that's one of the problems with picking Chen that early in the lineup and then not banning Alarak as the counter. And we also see why Alarak is very much a top pick in the pro scene right now, because not only does he have that rotational killing power, he is just such a strong laner against some other strong popular solo laners right now. Okay, and there's the ETC into the Malfurion root combo once again, but Johanna has her trait back up, luckily for her. Talking about the talents, we see Paralysis, standard picks for Thrall, at Rolling Thunder, Ride the Lightning. Oh, and there's another combo setup, but Johanna does not have her... Oh, she does, gets her trait barely in time, and Morales was there to save her this time. But she is under so much pressure, Morales, under so much healing and mana pressure, because they can just keep doing this. Every time they see someone, they just go stun into root, into another root from Thrall, and just lay down so much damage. One way to win the lanes on this map is attrition, and they are winning the attrition war. Oh, Morales stunned. Oh, but she dodges the root. Nice pathing from the Morales there. Notice how she didn't walk the obvious way where she would have gotten rooted. But to be honest, Malfurion could have landed the root just by casting it right under her feet. He just tried to get he just tried to get too fancy there, and that might have cost him a kill. But no, nothing really terrible happened for them either. And they are still ahead in the XP. You see, this is probably due to the, all that rotational pressure, of course, but also just Alarak dominating this bottom lane. Jeez. And you see, as a result, 46 gems turned in to 0. This is what having a better rotation and having better lanes gets you on this map. It's not like you're getting any serious damage. I mean, they did take down a tower thanks to the to the cheese they pulled out at the beginning, but it's that you can pressure them back so that you have room to turn in. And you can see the Sylvanas team is the first to turn in, and we'll see what they can do with this first turn in. And Asmodan is in a lot of trouble. The stun into root. Oh, but Asmodan is quite tanky, so he survives with Morales' help. And they're pressuring top quite a bit. This is, of course, the prioritized lane because it's the boss lane, and they're just still leaving one-on-one Alarak bottom. Chen's being so pressured anyway. He's still winning that lane even with Chen down there. Now they have their level 7 talents, making it really hard for Drop Dead Gorgeous to engage, if they want to engage at all. And it looks like they're not going to get that much more here, even with the Johanna, so good job by Drop Dead Gorgeous actually defending this down a talent. Well, they were down in talent tier and, Sylvanas. It looks like they're probably going to get mid fort, Blaze will, and they're probably still going to get bottom because this is how hard Alarak is winning this lane 1v1 against Chen. That matchup is just not great. And hopefully Drop Dead Gorgeous will make adjustments for game 2 about their solo laner. Okay, so let's make a quick check on the Taste for Blood stacks. You can see he's not, with all this pressure, he hasn't had the best time getting his stacks at all. It's very low. And thank you, Cavalier Guest, for the host. Hope you've had a good time casting the Chair League matches. Okay, and you see Chaos very low on his Leeming. Okay, now you see they're forced to split up Johanna and Asmodan, and even though he's gotten some stacks, the setup from Johanna to make it easy for him is still very valuable, but they can't do that anymore. They're just being pressured all across the map, and Alarak has actually joined up with the team, so they gotta be super careful. They're about to hit 10, and actually, now Drop Dead Gorgeous did get a turn in, which gives them a bit of space, but I don't know if I'll buy them enough time to get to 10. It certainly isn't going to do a lot of damage, and this is a great TP out by the Chen here. They saw that he knew the pressure would be coming from Team Blaze, and he got out of there before they even showed up. Remember that Hearth takes 7 seconds, so he saw that coming with 7 seconds to go, and just got out of there. One more level until 10. They're still struggling, and this is what happens on this map. This is kind of the snowball effect that can happen with the very good teams. They just lock you out of the turn-ins and XP and make you waste like 50 gems, which is what they essentially did. Just by virtue of having better rotations and being ahead in the early game. And, Kerrigan wasn't even picked or banned in this game. Either team could have had a great rotational hero like Kerrigan, so... Uh-oh, Chen is in trouble down here. Nice jump to get away, but... Oh, they actually stack their disables a bit, but it doesn't matter. Chen does not have a second way to disengage, and he falls. Okay, we saw in the rotation game, their stuns and roots were perfectly staggered. It would be ETC stun followed by the Malfurion root followed by the Thrall root. But there it wasn't as planned a gank, and they stacked them a bit. So we'll see if it comes back to cost them a kill later on. But still not 10 for Drop Dead Gorgeous. They're just desperately holding on, trying to wait for the heroics. Okay, so looking at the heroics, we do see Stage Dive to get on that Morales. We see Twilight Dream to silence the two frontliners that can get on Malfurion. We see Counter-Strike. I'm not sure why Counter-Strike is better than Deadly Charge in this case, but perhaps you guys can help me out there. And maybe he just wants that invulnerability when he goes walking into Morales. And then Wailing Arrow, also great for silencing Morales. If you can keep her from healing for a few seconds, she'll probably die, and so will, or someone else on her team will die. So, and then the Sundering, again, more lockdown, more engagement options, or disengage options. So, I'm not sure if sounding like handlebars is good or bad, but oh, Johanna gets caught out from the barrel, and or no, not sorry, not the barrel. The barrel's the same team. He's caught up by the combo, and it was just body blocked to death, and that's part of why ETC is such a great hero killer. He can slide right through you and then body block you so you can't move. And the silence on Morales means she has to run. Is this even the game with the Sylvanas advantage? And this is why Sylvanas is such a hot pick. Okay, is Aunt Jemima Oddish? I thought it was a different person. Okay. Or you mean Oddish influenced her pick. Alright. So here we go. Oh, they can't defend this. They can't defend this fort. Looks like Johanna is pressured. Nope. Okay, so only Li Ming dies there. She was caught way too out front. And yeah, Morales and Johanna's gonna do what they can, and so is Asmodan. And this is why Asmodan picks are very dangerous on a small map like this. If you get pressured, and that's why I really thought the Sylvanas pick was genius, because if you can end the game before, 15 minutes, before he can, if you can even start the pressure, if you can pressure Asmodan early on, then you just throw him off his game and he can't get his stacks, and then he becomes a very weak hero going into the mid game, and then you could just try to finish in the mid game before he can even get a lot of stacks. And that is exactly what we've seen happening. Because we see he's not even halfway through his Taste for Blood stacks, and it's 11 minutes. I think at Heroes of the Dorm, famously, Michael Udall or someone like that, or one of the teams, had an Asmodan that finished his stacks by 15 minutes. So I'm gonna try and look for you. Just a warning, it does break the UI in terms of gem counter prettiness. So, but the only way I know how to check is to go to his perspective. So bear with me for a second while I check his stacks here. 103 stacks right now. So, and you see they're just gonna go for, oh, he even stage dives in the Chen. Okay, there we go. So yeah, 13 minutes. So he's only 100 stacks right now, so you can see how far behind he is, unfortunately. And oops, they try to come in after the boss is taken, and I don't mind this decision at all, even though it's kind of suicidal. And Morales actually had no one in her medevac, so slight communication error, and this will be the end of the game probably. But they knew that they had to engage outside. If they had to fight the boss and all 5 players at their core, they weren't gonna. That would be game. So they had to challenge them outside the base, and they took that shot and they couldn't make it work, which was not surprising considering they're down a talent tier and 3 levels. But it was good of them to identify their win condition. They didn't play to not lose. They would have lost either way. What I was just saying is they saw the only chance they had to keep the game going, and they took it. So. Good on them for that. No Death Club. Asmodan didn't die, so good job on him. And I recall him not dying on his Asmodan the last 2 weeks either. So that's really good. He's always safe with his Asmodan. And Thrall, Malfurion, and ETC all not dying. I've been seeing this a lot lately in my cast where ETCs don't die. Is this like a new trend? Because usually ETCs die. Okay, so I'm going to show you their talents. Actually, looking at the stats, there's... Wow, look at all that Alaric hero damage! Oh my god! That for a short game, that is a lot of damage to be over the next highest person. And, Sylvanas put in her work too. Look at this 3 damage dealers. Just... Wow, okay. Putting in the work. And then Asmodan actually got a lot of siege damage done, but... Sylvanas. What can we say about Sylvanas that has about and this map that hasn't been said? Okay, so I'll leave the talents up for you for a second. Actually, I'm gonna put on the break screen so that I can set up the next game. And once again, thank you for tuning in. If you like the cast, please feel free to hit the follow button. I'm just gonna set up the next game. I'm going to mute my mic so you don't have to hear me typing. Well, I'll talk while we wait, actually, because just waiting for the map choice from Team Blaze. They get the map choice for round 2. So we'll see if Drop Dead Gorgeous can make any adjustments to try and counter what they saw from Blaze. Blaze kind of picked very appropriate for the map in that they picked a strong, very strong early game and rotational lineup for a small map like Tomb of the Spider Queen. And it looks like we're going for Sky Temple in round 2. Okay. So Sky Temple, a much larger map, much better for Drop Dead Gorgeous if they want to go for a more late game lineup, as they seem to want to do. And we're going to be playing on US Central. This time. We were on West last time. Yes, you're totally right, Purity the Kitty. The early temples can be important, but unlike, well, okay, it can be, but you often see teams falling into the trap of taking boss too early. There are more ways to get back into the game, I would say, on Sky Temple than there is on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Tomb of the Spider Queen is a very restricted map, so that there aren't really sneaky plays you can make. There aren't too many party bushes you can set up to try to come back into the game if you fall back behind early. Whereas on Sky Temple, there are much more weird bushes you can set up, and you can try to sneak boss, you can try to steal different camps, whatever it is, to try and at least get back into the game. Whereas a small map like Tomb of the Spider Queen is so hard to come back. So that's why I was saying they could try to play a more late game lineup. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I have no idea if it's a good idea or not. But you do see games go a little bit later, I think, in Sky Temple. So we have the draft starting, and we're gonna get to it. All right. So again, this is Team Blaze's map choice, and they picked Sky Temple. And I think the bigger maps favor the more experienced teams, because like I said, there are more plays you can make. Shot calling is more important in bigger maps because there are more decisions to make. In maps like Tomb of the Spider Queen, if you can get down your execution on the rotation and the solo laner, then you're pretty much set. On Sky Temple, there are so many different ways you can win, and which one is the right way, which one's the safer way, which one will guarantee you the win, how diligent are you about checking bushes, when to take boss, because this is the ultimate throw pit. Of any map, this boss is where games get thrown more often than not, and we even see it at the BlizzCon matches. We saw at least 2 matches where the game was thrown on Sky Temple by the boss pit, and just kind of crazy calls, in my opinion, where people, would kill 2 people, but it's too early in the game. The death timers were too small, but they thought they had enough to take it, and then, a huge void prism comes in, or something like that, and, the game completely turns around. So, first bans, Malfurion and Samuro. So, we saw Blaze actually ban... Wait a second, Drop Dead Gorgeous had the first ban, and they banned Samuro. So that, to me, tells me they don't have a Samuro player. And in response, Team Blaze bans Malfurion. Last time they banned Vala because they wanted the Malfurion, but now that Drop Dead Gorgeous has the first pick, they don't want to have to deal with that. And hello, Cavalier guests. Welcome to my channel. I'm not sure if you've been here before or not, but very welcome, all the same. Hello to all the new viewers. I'm sure I have way more viewers now than I've ever had because Cavalier guest host. So, yep, welcome to all you new viewers. Try to have a lot of fun here. Any feedback is welcome. Still kind of new to this casting gig comparatively, so. Anyway, ETC first pick, very powerful. We saw Stage Dive become more and more popular, and now is just kind of the de facto pick on this map. On a big map like this can definitely work, and I would expect Stage Dive. The counter is Tyrael Greymane, very strong dive comp, maybe kind of anticipating this Li Ming pick. I think every time I've casted Drop Dead Gorgeous, they've picked Li Ming. So if you know they're going to pick Li Ming, Greymane has traditionally been one of the best counters. Even though he's fallen out of the meta a lot, he's still great against Li Ming. He can jump on her and just stick on her and kill her really fast. Especially if they have an Abathur. Does this set up like an Abathur pick as well? Because you get double Greymane, like Li Ming is not living, and then you put the Sanctification on top to protect Greymane and the clone. Oh man, I would definitely like to see an Abathur pick come out at some point. They ban out the Zeratul counter. Like I said, even at BlizzCon we saw big void prisons turn the game, especially at the boss, and he's also kind of a soft counter to Tyrael in that it's a game of chicken. Whoever uses their ult first loses, because if you put down your Sanctification, he puts Void Prison over it, then the Sanctification's going to expire, and then it kind of resets. But in the other case, if Zeratul Void Prisons first, you can just Sanctification out of it, and then... Or not out of it, sorry. When it expires, you can Sanctification protect everything in the Void Prison, then you don't get your combo, so... we see the ban from Drop Dead Gorgeous is Oriole. I wonder why. I mean, Greymane does okay consistent damage for her, and they probably just don't want them saving the Greymane when he jumps in. Morales is an okay pairing for Greymane. I mean, the Stim Drone is obviously very good for Greymane, but Medevac is such a good, maybe sometimes necessary heroic for her, that I don't know if she can really skip that. And she might have trouble keeping pace with the Greymane if all he's doing is charging in and trying to go after Li Ming. In response, we see Drop Dead Gorgeous pick Brightwing, though, who is one of the best protectors, you know, with Polymorph and Pixie Dust. And then we've seen the Avatar come out for them, and they pick Illidan, who is traditionally one of the most popular picks on this map. And we see the double support with Rhaegar, in fact. Wow, okay. Is this a Bloodlust game, guys? Is this what we're gonna see? I still don't think so. I think you pick Ancestral for Greymane, right? Okay, so looking at these two lineups, which one do you like more, guys? I don't know how to feel about this Morales-Rhaegar double. I mean, I guess they won't be lacking damage because they have Greymane, but Falstad doesn't really do that much damage. Neither does Tyrael. But yeah, I guess they picked the Medevac Sanctification and then use Greymane to burst down the fort and keep. But why Falstad then? Is Falstad that much better at it than Raynor, let's say?
I will fight to my last breath.
Oh my. I played this cheese a couple of times myself, but I haven't been super successful with it, so I hope they're more practiced. So, which lineup do you like better, guys? Let me know. Can Abathur even defend against this? I mean, Emerald Wind is one of the best ways to defend against it. Like, after the Sanctification is over, you just go in and Emerald Wind. You can also Mosh. I wonder if this changes ETC's build to Mosh. You can try to also Wave of Force them off, I guess. They do have some ways of dealing with it. Oh yeah, Falstad does give you a gust. That's a good point. Yeah, sure. Kind of late for this game, Cavalier, but if you have a game 3, I would definitely enjoy having the cast on the cast. Teach me some things. Okay, so on the side of Blaze, we have Aunt Jemima on Greymane, Snarly Brown on the Metroid Morales, Stoughton on Falstad, I don't recognize that skin, Festige on Tyrael, and Shadow Smile on Rhaegar. On Drop Dead Gorgeous, we have Chaos once again on Li Ming, Gelda on ETC, Unitas on Brightwing, Ajax on Abathur, who is their specialist player, and Pugs Not Drugs. Ajax was on the No Death Asmodee last game, if you recall. So, alright, here we go. Let's see how this cheese works out. It's probably going to be decided around level 10 either way. We have seen teams kind of go back to a normal game if they don't think it'll work, though. So we'll see if Drop Dead Gorgeous is coordinated enough to keep them off the core after the Sanct. ETC's trying to defend this by himself right now, and giving up these structures early is really not good for the team being cheese, because, you know, once they take down a fort, they can fly right to your keep, so they really need to protect this as much as they can, but they can't fall behind in levels either, because, you know, you never want to be an Illidan fighting from behind. Okay. So we see Li Ming coming back into the middle here. They swap Abathur to the top. And Illidan actually dies to Falstad. Oh man, Falstad actually takes Wingman here at level 1. That's pretty interesting. You don't usually see that one still, even though, I mean, he has that new static shield build, which takes it, so... I guess that's what we'll be seeing here, since static shield does still do a lot of damage to the core. Or to the buildings, rather. Okay, so the first temples are up. It looks like they're just fighting over the top one. Illidan is dying once again. Why did he just stand there? He didn't have his healer. Did he expect Brightwing to come in? I'm very surprised by that. He just stood there and kept attacking. Was there lag? I don't know. I'll have to go with lag or something. Now they've taken the core already. I mean, not the core, the fort. The first fort top, and you know they're gonna go for a keep, and they're probably gonna get it with the first medevac trip. And you know the key to defending the strat is to make them take more trips so that you can get ahead in XP by wiping them, and then the second defense is gonna be easier once you get the first one. So, but if you start giving up keeps, the map pressure can get too much. They can try to play a normal game after that. They are onto the Morales though, and Illidan is a great Morales chaser. So they do get that and even up the experience a little bit, but they're still so far down. They're still over a level down now, and they really need to be aware. I don't know. I'm still like just waiting. It seems like all this early game is unimportant. We're just waiting for the epic moments of the cheese, but of course all this level advantage is really important. How fast they can get their combo out, how fast they can get their cheese out, how fast the opposing team can get their heroics to defend against it. Abathur is sitting very close to the wall here and can get hit by the hammering and grenade, and if the grenade bounces him out, that's very dangerous for him. They really need to make no mistakes from this point on. And I do like their decision to get the siege camp bottom to help them push bottom. Of course, the next temple does spawn bottom, so they can try to catch up with some tower structure XP. Checking the middle lane, ETC took Echo Pedal for some extra damage. Crowd Surfer and Block Party. Okay, there are lots of walls to crowd surf over, so. Not surprising. Now they gave up the pressure middle lane to take some top lane mercs, and this is one of the benefits of having an Illidan, that he can take these mercs quite early by himself. No problems. Now, do we see any cheese? We see Irradiate! Oh my goodness! So good! They are gonna go for it, I think. And Boomerang and Static Shield. And now it looks like they're putting so much pressure on the bot fort. And this is what I meant about the shot calling on this map and how it kind of favors more experienced teams. Because you can make decisions like this where you get the well and the fort before the second temples come up. Now they can fly to either top or bottom lane, and they have the advantage fighting over the bottom temple. They do catch Morales once again, and they're going to catch a second. They're going to go get Greymane as well, and that was really important. Now they're kind of evening up the advantage a little. They had to leave the split soak though, so 10 is going to go to Blaze first, and Drop Dead Gorgeous has to scramble to try to get their XP back. They will get it in the form of a couple of forts, a couple of towers here, and Abathur is doing his split soak thing, but not feeling safe enough to go top yet. And it looks like Blaze is just giving up this bottom temple, which is kind of smart if they group up and just force top even without the medevac. And there we go! They're doing it! Bloodlust medevac. All the talents disappear while they're in the medevac for some reason. And here we go. And Drop Dead Gorgeous is not responding. They were not ready for this. Maybe they're waiting for the heroics, but they didn't even have to use Sanct yet. This is definitely going to go down. And can they escape is the question. They're actually going to fight this maybe? There's no way. They're actually trying to do damage on the core? Oh my goodness. Are they even going to get past the shields for permanent damage? They are. And any permanent damage is a win. Oh my goodness. This is a hot mess. I mean, you can see that they've regained the level advantage off of that, but with 17% off the core in the first push, this is a disaster. This is no good. This is awful for Drop Dead Gorgeous. At least they're not even gonna get level 13 by the time the next medevac comes up, probably. It still hasn't given me her talents back, and in fact it doesn't. Okay, there we go. Oh, they were in the medevac, and they actually flew to boss thinking Drop Dead Gorgeous were taking it. So now there's 30 seconds where of breathing space, but they have to be aware. They have to know the medevac timing and just be back. I wonder if Abathur even should have gone shield build here. Oh, he has Mule, so he's probably fixing it up right now. Oh, and there's a fight going on bottom. They catch Greymane, which delays the timing once again. And here is how you can definitely save your core. He's not using his Mule on the core, though, yet. What's happening? Guys? He should be fixing the core up. Abathur? No. Okay, but if they can keep getting picks, it's not going to matter, so... Alright, here we go. And there we go. They do get another pick on the Falstad. Is Blaze's strategy falling apart because they're not grouping up enough? And this is great shot calling once again. Shot calling wins this map. Just knowing they, if they get on the core again, they're probably, and they're not ready, they're gonna lose the game. So they go on the aggressive. They know that if they're not 5, they can't go for that cheese. So they just keep killing. They're just going to keep killing them. And now they're forced to get the temples, though, because... And this sets up... There we go. We see a group up. And still no cheese set up by them, maybe? Are they doing it? They're doing it. Here we go. They're going for core. Does DDG see this? They should have gotten the warning. They should be hearthing back right now. Bird, Illidan, there we go. Brightwing and ETC are also slow, but ETC has stage dive. Li Ming is going, and here we go. 70%. Oh my god, this is gonna be over. They're focusing Morales, but they need to get down the DPSers first. And we're down to 10%, 8%, 4%, 3%. Okay. And Ariel passive gets it. Oh my goodness. Holy crap. Okay, that was so... I think... Did Blaze have somewhere to be tonight? Because both their games were under 15 minutes. This game under 10 minutes. 9-minute cheese strat. They just blew DDG out of the water. And sorry to Drop Dead Gorgeous. I don't... That was barely a game, honestly. But you do see this come out, and that Illidan pick probably... did them in. If that was a thrall to try to keep them off the buildings even more, but they were just slow to react that first time, I think, at the keep, and letting them take that first fort so easily was very detrimental as well. If they could have challenged it, they would have done a lot better, but it was hard for them because Sky Temple is such a big map, and they just didn't happen to guess right at the beginning, but then they couldn't rotate their resources correctly. So, plus they had Abathur. Abathur gets a lot stronger later on in the game. Earlier in the game, he struggles to deal with extreme push. So, yeah, there you go. And congratulations to Blaze. They moved to the next round of the playoffs. Shout out to the no deaths, but only a 9-minute game, so not too many people even died on the side of Drop Dead Gorgeous. They just didn't care. Blaze didn't care. They were going for structure. So Great job to Blaze. Thank you very much to all the players for playing. I'm going to leave up the talent screen for you to peruse if you want to try this cheese in your team league. Have fun with your friends. We see Mark for the kill for Greymane even, and it was, a fun series to cast, even though it was very short. This cheese is always exciting. It makes for kind of very compact, exciting games. All the exciting moments happen in very short bursts. So thank you to Blaze, and thank you to Drop Dead Gorgeous. I'm sure we'll see Drop Dead Gorgeous back in the Pro Division next season. And these guys can duke it out again, hopefully in a rematch. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Welcome to all the new viewers. If you like my cast, please hit the follow button. I cover Chair League usually every week, and I do have a cast tomorrow. So I won't be casting on Friday though, because I am going to start my Extra Life stream a couple hours early at 10 Eastern on Friday, so that my 24 hours will end in a reasonable time on Saturday. And if you choose to tune into that, thank you very much. I'm helping Sick Kids Hospital, so any little bit donation helps. Tell your friends, tell your family. If they're donating anyway for the holiday season, why not me? And I did set up some incentives if you want to look at those on my Extra Life page. ! Extra Life in the chat if you want to look at that. Anyway, thank you to all you viewers. You guys were lovely. Thank you for all the help, Cavalier Guest, and other analysis feedback you guys had. And I will see you tomorrow, hopefully.